My name is C. Meagan Michael. I am a seer, a seeker, a visionary, and a medium. Every Sunday, I present to you spiritual thought leaders from around our world and beyond. So today is Sunday, and I'm super excited. My guest today is Africa Archield. She is an intuitive business coach, and she'll be here with us in just a moment. Before we get started, I really want to share something amazing with you guys. So are you sitting down? All right, good. All right, so this weekend, all right, that's me when you recognize me. And then my mother's in the middle. That's a picture when she was younger than I am now. She's going to be 91 on Saturday. And that's my niece, her granddaughter. I saw my mom last year. My mom has not seen Erica, her granddaughter, since she was 10, that's 13 years. And I haven't seen Erica in person in that long either. We've talked on Facebook, we reconnected here. So this is what Spirit inspired this, and everything is falling into place perfectly. So we were renting a car and a hotel. Erica's going to pick me up. We're going to drive down south, a 4-hour trip. So we get to talk and connect with each other. It's going to be amazing. And my mom has no idea that I'm coming, and she really has no idea that she's about to see her granddaughter, whom she hasn't seen in 13 years, and she's not going to recognize her. Of course, she was a little girl before. Anyway, so we're really excited, and I just want to what Spirit inspired us to do. Give me a second. I want to show you. Pull it up this way. Is to create an event that you can donate to if you would like to donate. If you want to connect your energy, whether it's we really have. Whether you want, however you want to do it, whether you want to donate any amount, that's fine. And then your energy will be connected to this super high vibrational event. And they're calling it, I wrote it down somewhere. Oh, they're saying it's an energetic collaborative co-creation. That sounds redundant, but that's what they just said. And so everyone whose energy is connected with it is going to be connected to the super high vibration. It's like a group meditation. You know what I'm saying? When you're all focused on something, well, that's what they're saying. I mean, this is a reunion of 3 generations in my family. And so it's really fun. You're welcome to donate if you would like to. The PayPal link should be in the comments. But I want to show you something else. Hold that thought, okay? So this coming Thursday, my awesome soul sister, Debbie Charlton, oops, put it the wrong way, offered to create a beautiful healing, trance healing, and psychic reading event with me. So for $88.88, right, you get to this beautiful 2-hour event. You'll get readings from both Debbie and I. We will both be doing trance healing for you. And you'll also, I forgot to mention this. Oh, and all the money goes to, to support the 3-generation reunion on Saturday. All right. And we also created a Facebook group, a private Facebook group just for this event. So I will upload, the only place where I'm going to share any content real time is going to be in that group. Live streams, photos, feelings, whatever comes up during that vacation, that's where we're going to share it in that group. Any donation gets you into the group, but $88.88 gets you that. And it also gets you this amazing event on Thursday from 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the UK, it's 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there for you guys. If you donate, let me know. Please inbox me on Facebook and just let me know that you've done that. Let me pull this off. And then this way, I'll add you to the group and make sure that you get your Zoom link for our private event on Thursday. And that's what I had to say about that. Now, will you please join me? Hang on, let me bring her name on screen. I'm super excited about interviewing and connecting with Africa Archield today. So she's been down there waiting long enough. Will you please join me in welcoming Africa?
Thank you so much, Meagan. I'm excited to be here, and I'm so grateful that you thought to even invite me. I want to say that anyone who can join the event with your soul sister on Thursday, it's going to be amazing. I've had a reading with Meagan, and it was incredible. It enlightened me, pushed me to do some things that I wasn't ready to do yet, but it was like, hello, here's your sign. It's time.
I love that. Thank you so much. I am honored. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. It's going to be fun. Are you finding that your gifts are like like, I know they were amazing before too, but like kind of off the charts now in the new energy. Are you?
Yeah, I think it's so much easier to talk, and it flows so much easier. I think that's what it's not like I have to sit and I even have to focus quite as much. It's kind of just like boom, 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 boom. It's like as soon as I'm ready for it, here it comes. Like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Catch my breath, please.
I love what you're saying. I want to share with everybody, and thank you for sharing. And I am still sharing out in the beginning. So if my energy shifts a little, it's just because I'm sharing the event. And I'm also grabbing your website, which not your website, your YouTube channel, because I want to talk about that. That's how I found Africa. I was watching YouTube, researching spiritual business, information. And I don't even remember which one it was at the time. It was a subject that I hadn't even really thought about before that day, how spirit works. And all of a sudden I had to know about it. And so I'm researching and I find Africa, and she has a beautiful thumbnail. And of course that attracts, the people to click, and I click, and I loved her energy. Right. And then I start listening and I started binge watching, how you do that, like binge watching one video after another. And then I signed up in your website. Right. And I'm getting all the stuff from the website. And then I'm like, Spirit's like, you're going to interview her. I'm like, okay. So that is the experience, how I was drawn to connect with Africa. And then she honored me by saying yes and being here with us today. So her YouTube link is in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to her channel as well as mine. So what is your...
Give this thing a thumbs up, please. Give it a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Yes.
I love that. Sometimes I forget to ask for the things, and then later on I'm like, oh, didn't I just forget to say, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and comment below, Oh, I love it. So guys, we have a lot of amazing stuff to talk about. Let me just take a quick look and see who is, I want to see this on Facebook so I can say hello to a few people. I see Lisa Phillips. Hello. Kim Siegel. Hello. Lester Holmes, Tai Chi Master. Awesome connection. Thank you, Lester. Thank you very much. Great to see you all here today. Please feel free to share out, guys. Preferably the YouTube link, but I did post it on Facebook. So if you want to share it from there, it's, hang on, I can fix that. It was friends only. Now it's public. So you can share it from my page. So let me start off with the only like really pre-planned question, Africa, if you don't mind, which is really just how you got started. And let's just start there. I'll do a little more sharing, and then we'll go wherever we go.
Wherever we head to. How did I get started? How far do you want to go back?
Wherever you're drawn to share about your journey.
I'll give the briefer version. I will. Sometimes you don't know that you were meant to do something, and just everything falls in place. And that was definitely my story. Had I known that this was actually a job years ago, I would have gone straight to it, but it really wasn't. Coaching really wasn't a big thing until the early 2000s. It was kind of heard of on and off before that, but it wasn't a really big thing until then. And in fact, when I literally had someone approach me and said, "Hey, will you be my coach?" And I'm like, what does that entail? Like, I had no idea. That was 2006.
Yes.
I helped this lady set up her company as a consultant, and she wanted me to coach her and her husband. And eventually she hired me to coach her entire staff.
Ooh, nice.
So it turned into something that I didn't, like I said, didn't even know what it was. I didn't know it existed, but I did it naturally.
Oh, I love that.
It's those gifts that we automatically have, those things we do just because we can, just because we love it. And we think they're no big deal, and we can't get paid for doing that kind of thing. Right? Yeah. Those are exactly the things that you're supposed to do and get paid for, because other people find it difficult what you find easy, and you're helping them along with something that they don't love to do.
Other people find it difficult what you find easy. That's a really profound statement, Africa, because I really think, like you're saying, because some things are so easy. I know, like, some things will be like super easy for me, like when it comes to graphics and stuff, but I've been doing it, whatever. But it's not so easy for everybody. you know. And so something very simple, even like today, my awesome admin and friend Kimmy Siegel created a private Facebook group. Honestly, that's something that not everybody knows how to do. And
That's right.
Right. So I love what you're saying. Please continue. I like what you're talking about.
Oh, no. I mean, but to me, that's probably the biggest thing I want to get across is what, you just reiterated. What we find easy, other people don't. They find it really difficult. They can't do it. So really, one of the things, especially when I used to coach clients who were new, trying to figure out their business, and it was the same thing when I was figuring out my own. It's like, what are the things that I do naturally? What are the things I find like cake and other people find difficult? They want to pay for that help. They want to pay for that assistance. Yeah. So I just went through from there. I started building a practice, right? A coaching practice, took coaching classes, got certified, and just kept going. And over time, right, depending on the part of my life I was in, what was going on is what I coached about. Because we didn't coach about what we know, right? And so it was business only at first. And then I was becoming a mommy again. So I did coaching for mommies. Yeah, it was, but that's what I said. We coach about what we need to know about. So from there, I realized I coach moms in business. So I kind of start to narrow it down, moms in business, or starting a business. And then my journey kind of took me further and evolved back to the point where I really only worked with women then. And then I started working with men and women again. And then I got to the point where I could say, it's not that I don't work with men now. It's that no men come to work with me. And I like,
that's funny.
It's just a thing. But I was able
to this live stream. All the guys are going to be like, oh, I got to have coaching with Africa. Oh my God.
And I'm like, okay.
It's a thing.
But what I found was over time, I got to the point where I realized I have this gift, and I realized it way back then, prior to 2006. I was really good at going in and taking companies from good to great, from great to amazing, right? Extraordinary. Yeah. And I never brought that really into my coaching. And it took time for me to say, oh, that's another piece I need to bring in. And so it's not that I never work with people who are new, but I rarely do, because my genius, right? Like someone who's new has got to really talk me into it, because I know my genius is taking someone from good to great, from great to better, and better to extraordinary. I know that's my genius. And so that's why I play in that arena. And once I realized that, I thought, who do I love the most? Who do I have the biggest heart for? Where can I really be a bridge? And I realized for me, that bridge was for people that are considered woo-woo or spiritual, because I get that. I speak that language, and I speak tech, and I speak business, and perhaps I can do some translating there. Yeah, that's where it could be of my highest and best service. And we're going to talk about it later, I know, but once I looked at my own entrepreneurial star code and cracked that open, gosh darn it, if those things didn't match up.
That's really cool. I know, do you want to talk about it now? So this is something that Africa has. It's called the Entrepreneurial Star Code. I just heard about it. I don't know anything about it yet, so we're going to find out about it right now. But before we go there, just let me identify. So most of your clients, from my understanding, they're like at $500,000 a year, and you're getting them to the next level, and you're saving them like 20 hours a week or something like that. Am I right about that?
Most of them, I would say most of them start out the low end, or they've broken probably about 6 figures, or they're about to. Okay. And then I get them to 500K and beyond. Nice. So right now, I would say most of my clients are right in that 200,000 range and going up. Like I just had a client, we spoke on New Year's Day, because why not have a meeting on New Year's Day? But she told me, she's like, I did it. I'm like, what did you do? She goes, I got to 505,000.
Wow. Nice.
For 2020, right? She grew her revenue by 145%.
Wow, that's huge.
Huge. It's huge. And so for her, she was like, oh my God. When you looked at it, I remember the panic setting in March, April, you know. And then, just hammering on, hammering on, hammering on. And when we did, it just started to really blossom where everyone else was, in shrinkage. It was
Right.
that time to start to ride the wave. The wave is still here, folks. So get on it.
It
Right.
absolutely is. I think Africa, I feel like a lot of people were like, I don't know if that's still, but were at least for a while, like embarrassed, didn't even want to say they were doing well during this time when most people or many people were not doing well. Okay. So I feel like that was a thing. That was a thing. I mean, I really understand. Because I want you to speak to that because money and I wanted to hear all about the star code, but I really feel drawn to flow this way first.
Let's go this way. Yeah.
Okay, so money and spirituality. So they don't seem to go like this, but for like a few people who get it. I feel like personally I'm there, I'm getting it. I'm not at 500K yet, nothing like that, but I'm getting the connection as opposed to thinking I shouldn't charge for this or whatever. And I think some people, well, I want you to talk about that. Why do people feel like because they're spiritual, they're readers or they're psychics or they're whatever in this business that they shouldn't really charge for it, that it should be free and just give away their time? And we'll just talk about that for a bit.
Oh, no, I think this is great. And it almost doesn't matter. So, like way background, I grew up in a church. My grandfather's a Baptist minister. My father is currently a pastor. My mother and her husband are Pentecostal. So like this grounding in religion, in organized religion. And there's something, in there that says that if you have a gift, you should just give it away. Right. Old time. My grandfather I remember him talking to me about this. He has passed. It's hard for me to like, oh, but he used to talk about how he used to work a couple of jobs and tend to his flock. And of course, by the time I was born, that wasn't happening. But I just thought that's insane. Being a minister, being a preacher, whatever, is a full-time job because people get to pull on you whenever. And whenever it is its own business. So despite what the government says, it is a business. It is straight up a business. Just as much as any other spiritual endeavor, any other gift that you have that you're giving to minister to people, whatever way that you do so, right? And to just assume that it should be free means that you get to live in squalor. That's not how things were meant to be, right? When you're giving out, there was an energy exchange. And if you go back through all kind of any kind of religious text, any kind of ancient text, whoever was the religious person of the village, of the city, of the whatever, of the temple, they left stuff. They left chickens. They left, bread. They left whatever. They knew there needed to be an exchange of energy. And the energetic exchange on their part was to leave whatever. So eventually it became money. And so I think there's still that certain stigma about mixing something that is fifth dimensional with something that is third dimensional, right? And the two, it's because we're doing this fifth dimensional work that, maybe we should get paid on the third. Yes, we should. And it deepens for the person who's, where this energy exchanges, it deepens for them what is you're giving to them. 100%. Right? Whatever work that you're doing for them.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I
take it seriously. They get on a whole different level.
They're committed. I get it because I do a lot of live reading. Well, I haven't done as many recently, but I used to do a lot of live readings. A lot of my friends do live readings on Facebook and YouTube. And it's a lot, when you do free readings, you have it's a whole different energy than when you exchange, even if it's a small amount of money, like $25 for a live reading. They're committed. They're interested. They're listening. They're engaged. The free reading, it's like they just go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. Everybody who's online that's reading, me. They don't really even hear you, I don't think. I don't mean, I guess I'm generalizing and I apologize if you're somebody that does that. But I'm not trying to be negative against anybody. I just feel like as a customer, let me let you take it over from there. Let's see where you want to.
No, I think you're exactly right. It's like for some people, right? I have clients where I remember being this too. It was kind of easy because I was consulting, so I was used to having that exchange of money happen.
Right.
But all of a sudden, when I started coaching, it was harder. I'm not even sure really what the difference was between the two, but I felt like there was. Okay. So there was this feeling, and it was like, okay, if I can just charge $5, if I can just charge $10, and move up from there, just so it's something. And some people, it's so difficult because they have and again, we can get into money mindset too, but they have like such an aversion to receiving.
Yes.
Any amount of money. I say, you know what, just let it be a donation. And donation lands a lot easier with them than setting a price.
That's true.
And some of them are very surprised how much people will donate. They're like, oh. Well, I would have only charged. I'm like,
I've had that experience. Though there came a point with my personal, there came a point for me personally that I knew what I wanted at the minimum. So for me, it made more sense for me to just say, this is what I want. Because I didn't want other people just judging my worth anymore. And I feel like when you're asking for donations, you're saying, you judge me and you pay me accordingly, or you pay me according to your beliefs. I'm going to set my own price. And either that resonates with you or it does not. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you do, actually.
I know exactly what you're saying, but some people, they got to start there with donation. Then they can start seeing that, oh, that's not going to work for me. And they're ready to move to the next step. Mm-hmm. And, we were talking a little bit about this before. It almost doesn't matter how well someone's doing. There's always that layer of that onion that needs to be peeled back around money mindset.
That's so true. That's exactly what we're talking about before. I love what you're saying. Two things. One, I want to give an example of a dear friend. No names are going to be mentioned, of course, but a dear friend who was a beautiful reader, who is so gifted, and a healer too, but has some kind of something going on where like, oh, I don't want to ask for too much because this is a hard year. Okay, a hard year. Mm-hmm. People aren't doing well. But then the same friend noticed that a lot of her clients that are not paying much at all, or if anything, are buying hundreds of dollars worth of crystals and other things when they're watching lives. And so she's like, oh, wait a minute. I said, I'm telling you, people are fine. People. And so I feel like people bring their own limiting. I know I did it myself for a long time. They bring their own limiting beliefs. I let those things go so they're not mine anymore. But, they bring their own, and then they project those onto the people or the potential clients. What's been your experience with this? And if you want to share that story, please go ahead. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That was probably my biggest lesson, the one that you just spoke about, like personally, where I would think, well, I think I know this person. I think I understand their financial. You don't know anyone's financial situation.
That's true.
Period. You really don't. You really, really don't. But I would lay that on. I think they could only afford this. So maybe I should give them a discount so that they could start working with me. And I would put on all that stuff. And I remember one of the first major coaching programs I invested in for myself. Mm-hmm. I want to say, and at that time, I look back on it now, like, that's not that bad. It was $1,500. Okay. And I thought, I'm going to die before I get that together, but I want to do this. Right. And as soon as you really make a decision, you're committed to your decision, a way appears. Mm-hmm. And that's why I've learned not to judge people on how much money they have or anything like that. Once they've made a decision, they are committed, a way appears. They get to choose whether or not to grasp that way or not. That's not on you. You can't manage other people's money that way because you don't know what they're doing. So I made the commitment, right? I made the decision, made the commitment, a way appeared. I literally walked outside into my garage. And before I had made kettle corn at the farmer's market. Well, between regulation and stuff at the city, couldn't do it anymore. It was just cost prohibitive. But the equipment was all sitting in my garage.
Okay.
So I put it on, I think at that time, Craigslist. And within a day or two, this lady said, I want to buy it all from you. And she paid me $1,600.
Nice.
right? I got an extra 100 to boot. Like within a few days, you know, they had the money. I drove it out to her. I showed her how to set up everything and how everything worked. Her husband paid me another 200 in cash.
Nice. For showing the setup, for the setup and all that?
Yeah, how everything worked and how to just being out there and coaching her on how to do it, right?
You're a vibrational man. I love this.
Yeah, when it happens, it happens. So that's what really taught me, like personally taught me, when someone makes a decision and they are committed, a way will open up for them to bring in whatever amount it is that needs to come in. Now, I know everyone probably can think back of a story like that, whether it was like, oh no, my utilities are about to be shut down, or I'm going to be overdrawn, or whatever it's been, you know, pay for the school lesson for my kid, whatever. A way was always made. And what I found was, if it's a coaching program or a course they want to take, whatever, a way will be made. You know, they just got to get that commitment and just listen going.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I know what you're saying. And what about like when people are looking? Okay, so as a business person, right? That's funny because I still have this thing in my head too. So you want to position yourself as the expert, as someone that, because if you're really, as long I'm talking about, if you're really great at what you do and you believe in what you're doing and you believe in yourself, which I do, so then you want people to feel the same way about you. But if somebody's looking for like, oh, amazing psychic and healer and visionary, whatever, am I going to go look at the person that's charging what they feel they're worth, or the person that's more free and everything is free and they never charge a dime to anybody? Personally, I wouldn't. I would look for even though we're probably missing out on some amazing people, I would be looking at the person that knows their worth. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I want to bust a little bit of a myth there.
Okay, please.
So we can start using different language, because I have always used this language too, and I'm trying to work it out of myself. We will never be paid what we're worth. No way, no how. We will never be paid what we're worth, because we are priceless.
Yes.
Our knowledge, our expertise, our experiences, our connection, they're priceless. We'll never be paid what we're worth.
You're right.
Never, never. But we will be paid what we're an energetic match for.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So at that moment, the folks that are coming in who are free, that's what they're an energetic match for. So this is why, like, working on your money mindset is so important, because you really have to up your own frequency. And even if it seems, when I guess this is better with some hard numbers in a story. I had a client that I worked with. I think I was telling you about her earlier. She had 2 programs, and one was really an entry to another, which I like doing that. But for her, that really didn't work. Okay. And so we kind of had to change that around. But so basically, for the program we began working with, she was charging $20,000.
Okay.
So you would think, some people would think, for the program, you'd think, oh, well, she has no money mindset issues. She had an abundance of money mindset issues, right, that we had to work through, because the program she was providing, or the service she was providing, really cost, like out on the open market, about $50K and up. So do you see how she was undercharging? Yeah.
So she's charging $20,000, but her program actually should be, other people are charging, $50,000 for similar. So she had a money mindset issue. Oh my God. Isn't that amazing, guys?
I mean, so this money mindset issue happens at every single level. And this isn't like people would look at and say, oh, she's not successful. She's very successful, right? By, outside standards, but she knew internally she was not going to be able to sustain what she was doing. I mean, she was going to give up her business. Okay. She was literally, when we got together, it was so bad. She was like, I'm working maniac hours. She was working then about 60 to 70 hours a week. Ooh. Had staff, right? And was charging clients coming in charging, like around $20,000, and still having problems.
Oh, okay.
Right? It happens at every level. We all hit like what I call our upper limit. right?
Mm-hmm.
We all hit that upper limit, and we've got to break through. And what got us there isn't going to get us to the next place, right? That's just the way it is. So we had to do some rejigging around of our program. We had to work on money mindset, and we had to do something to deal with staff.
Okay.
Right. So that she wasn't working so many hours, because that was, you can only work so hard so long. Even if you are like that workaholic Taurus thing going, you can only work so hard so long. Tauruses even have to chillax. So she was at the point of burnout. We cut the hours back to where she's working less than 30 hours a week. Right now, I think we're back to under 20.
Okay.
Right. And like I said earlier, she made over 500,000 this year.
Wow.
Right. So numbers went up, and it's amazing what you can do when you work with the people you have. And I should say this too. We went from charging 20K, and she just had her first 50K clients. We moved that needle. Baby steps. That's why I said earlier, sometimes you got to start with a donation.
Right.
And you start saying, this is how much it costs, and that then goes up. Because it's about those folks investing in themselves through you. Right? They're not investing in you.
Say that one more time. That they're investing in themselves through you.
They're investing in themselves through you. Because they want to see this transformation. They want to see this change. They want to get the information to make better decisions. And that's only going to happen when they invest in themselves. And they're choosing to invest in themselves through you.
I love that.
Right? You're not taking their money. I remember thinking, I'm taking their money and they won't have any left. And how will they feed their children? Like, all these things can come up. Yeah. And that was really at the time me projecting my own junk onto them.
Yeah,
so,
I get it.
So not just current situations or stuff from your childhood rearing its ugly head that people either you saw or people told you and you took on as truth.
Right, exactly.
And it's breaking through those things.
We often pick it up from our parents. Am I right? I mean, that's my understanding, that we're if mom or dad says money doesn't grow on trees and not, we have to give up this to get that or whatever, then we until we. So let me ask you this. So how do you handle money mindset issues? What do you recommend? And let's talk about that for a little bit.
Sure. I didn't even think about this, even though I knew we probably talked about it, but I didn't even think about it. So I have a course, Winning with Money.
Oh, okay.
And I'll have to think of a way to get the info out for your viewers. But I usually don't do that as a separate one-off thing. I have it included in my coaching suite that I have for my clients. But I think I think from our conversation, it might be good to do a one-off.
Okay.
Other things that really helped me. Think and Grow Rich. I read that over and over again.
Yeah, right? That's on YouTube, guys. I mean, you can also, I'm sure, buy the book, but the video, you can get that on YouTube.
You can get it on YouTube. I have a book right here if I don't knock everything off the shelf.
Think and Grow Rich. This is what, the 1940s or something?
Something like that. I think it might have been the 20s. This one is called Spiritual Economics.
Oh, I haven't read that one. Okay.
By Eric Butterworth.
Okay.
I found that really helpful. I like book recommendations. Boy, I could come up with them. Marianne Williamson wrote a book on money and spirituality as well. I can't remember what it's called, but if you look at her suite of books, you'll find it. It's a blue cover. That much I can tell you.
Okay.
But all of these things started to really help me over time. There's another book called The Big Leap about really being in your zone of genius. So it wasn't so much about money, but it's really about the things you find easy, other people finding hard.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but I grew up in this moment, in this place where people were always telling me the only way to to make money was to work hard, do the things that are hard.
Right. Or work long, hard hours, you know.
Long, hard hours.
You got to really put that time in. And
that's why I think that we believe when we're doing something that's easy, that we shouldn't make money at it.
Yeah, because it doesn't have any value because it was easy. That's our zone of genius.
It's our zone of genius. And once you realize that, you're like, oh, that's what this is. And I can make money with that because other people do find this hard, you know, or they have no love for it whatsoever.
I don't know if this is a great analogy, but like I don't know, I've got a plumber in my head. Like they, you know, these probably plays with these things at home, fidgets. It takes him 2 seconds to screw something on or off, and people like myself are like, "Oh, thank goodness that you're here." You know,
exactly.
My zone, I could if I had to, but that's not my zone of genius. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like something that might take you and I maybe 16, 20 hours and still be messed up.
Screw this, and I moved. I don't know.
Takes that plumber 5 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
What you're paying for.
Yes.
And they have no problem saying, here's the bill. And you're not like giving them the side eye because you understand the kind of work that went into that, the kind of experience, etc. So they could do it in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Right?
That's exactly. So why do people, you know, value their mechanics or their plumbers more than they value themselves as a reader? What, you know? And yet a lot of times, I don't know, I feel like a lot of times the same people would never question the fact that somebody's already established is charging, but they're feeling that. So I know, like, I know most of your clients are already established, but I do feel like a lot of the people that are kind of like my audience is, a lot of them are like where I was, where I'm still on my path. You know what I'm saying? Like all of us, but I feel like, like you were saying, I think, did you say it on camera or off camera when you were saying wherever you are in your life is like what you're coaching about? That's, you know what I mean? That's like where I am right now. I feel like I'm really focused on the business aspect of my business. And so there you are, I manifested you in my life and here we are, right?
That's exactly how it happens. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. The Law of Divine Compensation. Yes.
Thank you very much.
It's a beautiful book. I love it. I've read that one like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
But you're right. It's like we coach about what we need to learn about. And at a certain point, maybe there's other things. Like I'm kind of at that point where a lot of what I'm coaching on, I don't necessarily need to learn so much about anymore.
Right.
I definitely need to learn the next level of it. That makes sense. We're always striving. I always tell people when they're like, I want to be a coach. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, but I don't know everything. I'm like, no one knows everything.
Right.
No one knows everything. But as long as you stay pretty much a few steps ahead of whatever you're teaching someone about, you'll be fine. And I say that I've heard it a million times and I have experience. I experienced it as a coach. I experienced when I used to teach in higher ed, right? Those first times you teach a new course, you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm doing. I have an outline. And you're reading a few chapters ahead of your students. And relevant information, right?
I don't think I've personally done that, but my mom was one very well-known piano teacher in our area growing up, and she had some students that were more advanced than she was, and she would do exactly that. She would, get herself up to speed, and then sit down and coach them, teach them that next lesson, and they loved her.
And you start realizing, the way I was taught to coach, you're there really to help that person stay in their zone of genius, which means you don't necessarily have to know everything they know. You just have to know how to motivate and inspire them.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
So I try to look, so I feel fortunate, like the business coaching that I do, a lot of it's motivation and inspirational. Like I'm not the perfect picture of health, but I will tell a client if I'm seeing some issues, you need to go out and walk every day. Right. You need to do this and these things for your health. Not that I'm a nutrition coach by any stretch of the means.
Right.
Or relationship coach or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I am there to motivate and inspire and to listen, right? Because you still get those downloads. And it's like, you got to let them come through, because that's not for you to hold on to and ruminate. It's for your client to hear.
Yes. Oh, that so resonates. Wow. I love it.
When you do those things. So that's why I'm like, but then I get to bring in all the business expertise that I have and do all that stuff. Oh, yay. Thanks, Kim. I'm trying to look at the chat every once in a while, so I know I'm not catching everything back, so I apologize.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
What was your question?
I want to still talk about, I guess we're going to talk a lot about money because it's interesting. It's interesting with this time. Well, I'm telling you, I hardly ever see anybody talking about, unless I'm looking specifically. I never really, even on Facebook, maybe because I wasn't a chat, maybe I wasn't a match to the information. It might be there, honestly.
I was about to say, you'll probably, now that you're looking, it's going to show up.
It's going to show up now. Yeah, because I'm ready to understand. I'm ready to hear and comprehend it. I have my own limiting beliefs that I had to, let go of too, And a lot of times when people have struggled a lot, they're going to have, I had, not now, I'm good now, but a lot of times people that have struggled a lot of going to experience beliefs they carry with them into their new life. And then you realize, wait a minute, everything is looking good. And I see everything like right here. And I feel it. Like I feel the floodgates are open now. I feel it. You know what I mean? I feel my abundance flowing. Spirit said, you're done playing in that low energy. You're done with you already learned the lessons of lack and you're done. But it took me a while, a couple of years to get from where I was years ago, which, I had some moments there. I was struggling, a lot of struggle. And then to be where understand and accept where I am today and where I'm going. Because you can't get to where I'm going by looking back at where I was and hanging on to energy and baggage from like 6 years ago. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. I was like, as you were talking, I was remembering this time recently where I realized I was behaving in such a way out of food insecurity.
Okay.
Right. So I was like, I was getting very upset with my son for not that he didn't eat everything on his plate, but because he said he ate and then he actually threw the food away and then asked me to get him more food.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's different.
And so picky is what we call it.
Okay.
Picky didn't grow up in my house. Let me tell you that. When I was growing up, there was no such thing as picky. There was like, you eat or you die, and we don't care. This is the food we're eating. But I know that I went through a time more recently of food insecurity.
Okay.
And so I'm very conscientious about, we must eat all the leftovers and we must eat that. And yeah, it might be a little bit out of the expiration date, but it'll still be okay.
Yeah.
Like all of those things. And so I was kind of overly enraged. Instead of being calm and meeting the moment and using it as teachable, I went nuclear, right, about the situation.
Right.
That didn't call for that. And I'm like, I had to get to a point where I could say, we are not in that food insecure moment anymore.
Right.
I remember it very distinctly, being hungry and thinking, I'm going to feed, and then it was just my daughter. I'm going to feed my daughter, but I'm not going to eat. I remember that moment. And here I was kind of reliving it. Years later, like, wait, back up the bus. But I had to also come to it with him and say, look, I don't want to guilt you like I was so guilted, right? I was guilted as a child. There are starving kids in Africa. And then,
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not going to eat all your food? I'm not going there with you. But I do want you to know there are kids right now who are starving somewhere in the world who don't have the luxury of choice that we have. And I'm grateful for that luxury of choice, but I'm not going to be frivolous about it. So I had to take that moment and step back and get out of that lack mentality around food, and maybe we won't have any more, and how dare he
Sure. And
get to, let's not be frivolous. Let's not throw away our own blessings. Like it's not that the lesson wasn't, hey kid, don't throw away your food. Eat your food. But it needs to be reframed so that he doesn't take on that lack mentality.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely it does. It really does. And Abraham says something about like you can't get poor enough to help poor people get rich. You can't get like full enough to help, starving people get full. Doesn't matter how you negotiate your own food or money in this world. If anybody's starving in another part of the world, you're not making the difference. What you do or don't do is not, they're creating their own reality. That's one thing we were not told in childhood with the people who are starving in other countries. They're creating their own reality. They made choices when they came into this experience. They chose to have that particular kind of contrast. And I'm not saying not to help people. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that they made those choices, just like they chose to be born in the US or wherever you're watching from, the UK, Australia, right?
It's important to realize, I still say, don't be frivolous. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean to get into lack. It's getting into alignment with what you do have.
Alignment. That's the key for me as well. With food, with money, with everything. Just being aligned and how I'm feeling about it. Because there's things that I might spend money on now that I would have thought a few years ago were frivolous. So for me, frivolous is what I think is frivolous may be nothing to you. You know what I mean? So something like that. So that's what is that? It's the word subjective.
It's to me, it's like a value point. I value different things than you value than someone else values.
Right.
We come at this with different values, and I'm trying to think how do I explain this. Okay, let me sit for a minute and be quiet. But go ahead and ask her its question. It'll come to me in a second.
For me, as I keep growing and evolving, my points are changing. So I'm just speaking from my own perspective here. For me, because if I had, that's what I've been doing. Just not. I've been releasing all limiting beliefs, even if it seems like a positive limiting belief. I just let go of everything, and then I just keep, because I want to move forward at infinite speeds. I want to be ready, when Spirit's like, okay, next, Yeah,
you're giving up all resistance.
Yes, thank you.
All your resistance points. So there's no friction between you and where you're going, which totally makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm so careful now with my languaging to my kids, because I'm concerned I don't want to put these ideas of lack into their brains.
Yes. No, I know.
Or I need to work them out of their brains if I have, Well, and because for the same reason, I don't want them to have any resistance between where they are and where they want to go. And we can set up all sorts of roadblocks for ourselves, like you said, positive ones too. Or seemingly positive ones too. We can set up all sorts of things like, I can only do this if XYZ conditions are met. Or maybe when I have
myself sometimes.
If I have this much money, or I meet this kind of person, that's the only way I can get over here to the thing that I want. And you don't have to dictate the conditions.
Right.
You just have to be ready to get what you want. Conditions be those are your limiting beliefs that are coming up whenever you say something like that. Those are your limiting beliefs making themselves known.
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about something that you're another expert, you're an expert in a lot of things, but this is how to start a business, So like for people, let's say they've gotten rid of those limiting beliefs and they're ready to make a move in that direction. So what would you say to people that are looking to start a spiritual business now?
Oh, okay. Good question.
Thank you.
I would say you'll have more limiting beliefs that raise their ugly heads later, so don't worry. You don't have to get rid of all your limiting beliefs. You just have to be willing to move forward.
Good point.
And the other thing I would say is look at your zone of genius. Look at the thing you want to do. Look at those experiences that you've fallen into that you think can really help other people. Business is actually really simple, right? At its very minimal layer, it is this. I look for ways to help other people. Okay. That's all business really is. And once I figure out that way, I now produce a product or a service that will fill that gap. I think it was in the movie Robots.
I haven't seen
See a
it.
Need, Feel a Need. If you saw the movie, it's a kids movie. I've seen so many kids movies. This is the thing of having kids 11 years apart. I've seen a lot of kids movies.
Oh wow, 11 years. That's cool.
11 years. I've seen a lot. So in the movie, I think the main character ish, he says, see a need, feel a need. He was an inventor. And I think that's right. To me, that's the very basics of what business is. See a need, feel a need, whether it's a product or a service, whatever.
See a need, feel a need. Okay, I see what you're saying. So do you feel like when people are coaching, it's usually about something that they themselves has overcome, like a problem that they had, and then they overcame it. Now they want to help other people to do that?
Yeah, that's why you see so many people. That's a great place to start out coaching.
Okay.
And whatever, they say, make your mess your message. Make your mess your message.
Make your mess your message. Okay.
And I don't know who said that, so I'm not even going to say that I said that. I don't know who said it. But I like that idea because you kind of know the perils people are going to go through. And then, especially like if you're someone, and I always think of nutrition coaches this way. Most nutrition coaches I know have lost a ton of weight. Right. Sense. Or they were like in a sluggish way and they didn't know what was wrong. And they found out they had XYZ, like Hashimoto's or something, and how they overcame that through nutrition.
Okay.
Right. And now they're leading other people on that journey. And then some of them morph into business coaching because all of a sudden they realize over that time they had to build a business too. So you can make those shifts and pivots. And there's a part of the journey where you're leading people one way and then you need to part ways because you're on a different part of their journey and they're going on a different part of their journey. And now you're here to help someone else. And it's just different pieces of the journey.
I love what you're saying. Let me ask you this. I'm going wherever spirit goes. How do you find the ideal client for you or attract them or what have you?
Ooh, okay. Well, part of what I do in the entrepreneurial star code is we talk a lot about ideal client because what I call them is your divine client archetype. And there's a couple ways to get at it. So barring that methodology, I usually tell people it's like 9 times out of 10, you're going to serve someone, especially when you're starting, that's like you.
Okay.
Where you were 5 years ago, because you really know that person really well. Right? The person you were, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it is that you went through the mess. That's who you're going to serve. And that will initially get you on your way. That'll get you to, I would say, a good $100,000, $200,000 in revenue business. Kind of serving people that were like you were, that kind of niches it down a little bit more. A lot of times people start with whoever will pay the money.
Okay. Yeah.
And I say, do that for about 2 seconds. And then you're going to run into people you never want to work with that kind of person again.
Yeah. Right. That's about boundaries, right?
Yeah, you got to get boundaries in here. And so one of the big things I think helps a lot of my clients really get a hold of their boundaries around who they serve, even if they were kind of at that point kind of everywhere, is they made a list. I would have them make a list of 15 to 20 things their clients must have. Right? And if your clients don't check off most of the things on that list, you do not serve that person.
Okay.
Plain and simple. I say that, but it's also when you're just starting, if you don't have a base of money underneath you, it can be a scary place to go. Sure. And your money issues will come up again. When you're saying, no, I'm not going to take your money. I know you want to give me your money, but I'm not going to take your money. You can keep it right on over there. But what you have to remember is you're making space. You're keeping that space open for your divine client archetype to come in. Someone who's going to find you a joy to work with, who isn't going to sit and try to nickel and dime you about whatever the investment is, who truly is there to grow and expand and transform through their investment with you. Okay. Absolutely. So that's what you have to keep in mind. Every time you're saying no to someone, you're leaving the space open for someone who can perfectly work with you.
And it's interesting because I find that that when I when my vibration is super high, I only attract the perfect clients for me, and we're a perfect match for each other. And if it's not, if my vibration is a little bit lower that day, I might attract somebody who's a little bit different than my ideal. I mean, I love everybody. If I'm ready for you, I love you, and I'm so glad we did. But you know what I mean? A little bit different energy. But I love what you're saying. So like a lot of people, even if they're in the spiritual community, don't necessarily trust what their gut tells them about somebody because they're so used to lying to themselves about, I've been there in my life. They're at least lying to themselves about the other person to make it okay. Maybe it was a parent or a partner or something like that. And so now a client, and they're like, well, and they start negotiating with themselves. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I'm gonna give this to you and let you take that wherever you want to go with it because I know you're feeling it.
Yeah, I'm feeling it, and I love where you said, they're so used to lying themselves, whether it's a parent or the partner or whatever. There's this beautiful thing that people in the spiritual community, they're so compassionate, they're so lovely and so loving, and they're empathic. They take on everyone else's stuff as their own. Right. And that's how we start. We can't separate. This is why boundaries is such a big deal. I talk about it a lot. You can't separate other people's stuff from your stuff. Right. And that's going to just, for most people in the spiritual community, that has to become a daily practice. And keeping yourself high vibe, because you were so right. You're lying to yourself and trying to make things okay because that's your coping mechanism for different relationships or whatever that you've been in. It's a coping mechanism.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And then you take that. Oh my God. I'm so glad you brought this up. You take that straight into your business. Nice. That is why personal growth work, right? What I call personal sovereignty is so important as a business owner, because whatever personal work you haven't done, whatever you haven't gotten straight in yourself, baby, it's going to show up right in your business.
Oh my God, yeah.
The easiest way we see that mirror hold up is our money story, because our business will hold it straight up to us and get like, dang it, why? Right? But if you have boundary issues, your business is going to hold that up, right? Whatever it is, if you visibility, using your voice. If you can't use your voice amongst your friends and family on a day-to-day basis, you'll find it's gone in your business too.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It holds its stuff up and it shows you where you need to grow. That's why it's important to be on that personal growth journey. And as you get more of that stuff done, as you work through your own shadows and get through your limiting beliefs and pull up those presuppositions and get through those too, you find that your business blossoms at that same rate.
Absolutely. I love what you're saying, that you have to be on your own personal growth journey. Honestly, I would never, I would, if someone, I wouldn't even, well, I read for myself anyway, but I wouldn't even allow anybody to read for me if I didn't feel that they were on their own personal growth journey, because I don't want you to filter my message from spirit through your limiting beliefs in your brain, So I really encourage everybody to read if you're going to get readings, read from, whoever you're drawn to, but be aware about why you're going to find, I feel strongly that very often you're going to find that the ones you're going to have an aversion to is because they have some heavy filters still going on and they haven't cleared that yet. So anyway, always trust your gut on that.
Oh my God, you're so right. You feel it. And I think sometimes, well, why wasn't my business growing faster? I hadn't worked through much of my stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And people see it like a neon sign around you. That stay away. They're not. You're going to attract those people who are. When you don't work for your stuff, you attract people who are almost like energetic vampires.
Okay, wow.
That's the thing that I found. It's not that they mean to be. Oh gosh, how do I want to say this? It's that the energy they're bringing to the table drains you.
Yes.
Instead of lifting you up.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When you work with people, you should feel as good and excited and even probably more energized when you're done, not completely drained. And if they're draining you, they're either the wrong kind of person, right? Your boundaries are all messed up. It could be that, and it could be your business model too.
Okay. What do you mean by that? Can you clarify that for people?
Yeah. Not everyone is meant to work with people one-on-one. For some people, that's super draining, right? They've got the right people in it. It's really is their, the right kind of client for them. But one-on-one work isn't going to work for them. They've got to work in small groups, or they've got to work in large groups, or they really never need to work with anyone. They need to write a book
or a course or something like that.
Yeah, they can be more hands-off. We all have a message to give. We all have a gift, and that delivery mechanism is going to look different. And then there's going to be people out there are looking for that delivery mechanism.
Yes.
Not everyone want to work with someone one-on-one. And conversely, right, what we're seeking is also seeking us. There are people who cannot work with people one-on-one. It's too draining. It's too much.
And what about boundaries? I mean, I know you did a pick of cards online. I don't think do you take clients now for psychic work, or you're just strictly business?
Yes and no. So how do because it's part of the service I supply for my private clients.
Okay. Oh, that's that.
So to me, with my business clients, what I do is a mix of spiritual and practical. And those two things integrated. So they're learning how to be that bridge, because to me, that's the bridge that we need built as we're shifting in consciousness as a world globally. And so they want to be part of that bridge. They want to walk that line and have it show up in their business. And it really engages and magnetizes other people just like that, who are really here for what the spiritual and social change that's happening.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to talk about, if you would like, I want to talk about your entrepreneurial star code. Your entrepreneurial star code. So I know, so we've talked all around this, but now if you'd like, I would like to dive in and find out exactly what that means and what it is, how it can help people.
The reason I came up with the entrepreneurial star code is because I realized there's these pieces that are out there floating around that we know about, but we haven't really put together yet. So part of it is the money stuff we talked about. So I have certain assessments I do. So I'm just going to open up the kimono here a bit. And there's certain assessments I give people. One of them has to do with money, so I can get to the depths of their money mindset. There's another one that I really look at kind of where they are in business. There's different levels of business, and it becomes a really important thing to figure out where you are to know if you've built the right kind of foundation to get to the next level even. So that's part of it. There's another part of that looks more at you, like we just talked about. If your personal stuff, if you haven't worked through that stuff yet, it shows up in your business. I need to know what kind of personal stuff you may or may not have worked through yet. And then we also look at your natal chart. So I do an astrology reading, a natal astrology reading, but geared toward business, right? My whole concept is you are your business. That's why your personal stuff shows up in your business, because you are your business. And so I take that very literally. And so we look and I could never say to someone, I can do a natal astrology reading, because I don't do this. I do business astrology readings based off your natal chart. It's different. It's different. And so we mix all that together in the great stew, right? In the great mixing pot. And as we pull out, that is your entrepreneurial star code. Okay. And we're able to pull out your divine client. We're able to pull out the kinds of products and services. We're able to figure out, are you that person that's on stage serving millions? Are you like a guide that's guiding a few people at a time, or one person at a time? Like, we're able to pull in all those pieces and really dial it in. And I think a lot of times when I have folks, because I always say I work with established businesses. If you've been doing what you've been doing for years and you're making money, and maybe it's just enough to get by, but now you want to do more, you're still an established business, right?
That's true.
The thing that I find is, as I go through this with people, whether they're new or established, because new people can get a lot out of that as well, because it can help them get on the right track right away. But whether you're new or established people tend to come to me because they've hit a rut, or they've hit some kind of income ceiling.
Okay.
And so when we get there, we're getting to refine everything that they do. And they see that's usually a couple of tweaks. Sometimes they realize it is time for me for that next part of my evolution here on earth to work with a different group of clients or teach in a different way. Or, oh, that's why I've been struggling, because I am butting my head trying to be someone I am not, right? There's some very specific business structures we've been taught that work, but they're not for everybody. You know, it's not for everyone to be on stage. It's, you know, like everyone's like, oh, you should go speak. There's always that latest craze. You should go speak. You should go build funnels. You should go do this. You should, and oh, you should be on Instagram all day or whatever it is, or YouTube even. Like, I love YouTube, but it's not for everybody.
No, it's not.
It's not for everybody. And so we've got to find what is the right place for you. And all of the things, this infinite amount of things that we're now given to get out and be in the world, all these infinite ways we can structure our business. What's the best way for you?
Yes.
And that's what that's what truly what we uncover. And for some people, it's those simple tweaks. I can give them back time, which usually what's happening is people are working maniac hours. Can you imagine only working 20, 30 hours a week? A lot of people are like, you're crazy.
I do that. So.
Yeah,
I'm kind of always on. My mind is always there, but I'm not necessarily. Yeah. And I love that. You know, I love that.
Choosing that time, and then, you know, then adding the money into your bank account. Wouldn't it be nice to have an extra 100K, 200K drop in your bank account this year? Absolutely. I can't think of anyone who would say no. But that is, I mean, but it's probably the most interesting thing to people. They think they need to work more hours to make that happen when they actually need to work less.
Yes.
And that's what gets unlocked in there. And we get to all those nitty gritties to make it happen.
Oh, I have this question. Thank you for bringing it back, Spirit. So how do people know when, what am I trying to say, Spirit? Help me out. Okay, when you charge for an hourly rate, like this is my time and this is what I charge, how do you go beyond? Because there's only so many clients. It's you're a person who sees clients. Only so many clients you can see in a week, so much money you can charge for the one thing. How do you expand from there?
Oh, well, okay.
How do you know that you're ready to not charge, you know, like $1 for a minute? And I think a lot of people are saying, is that possible?
I would say, please do never charge for a minute. Never charge by the hour. Just stop right now. Oh, I hate it so much. It's almost because, trust me, when you're with a client, you're giving them your all. Mm-hmm. And then when you're not with them, you're preparing for them, or you're wrapping things up in your mind.
True too. Mm-hmm.
Right? And so to think to yourself, I'm just going to charge for this finite amount of time with them. I'm with them when you're really with them this whole amount of time is BS.
That's so true.
So that's why I'm a big proponent, no matter what you're doing, of packages. Right? And so, or if you want to think of it as, when I think of packages, I think of a number of sessions, because pretty much no matter what someone does, if they're looking for a specific transformational result.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to take more than one time with a person.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. Or it's going to take an extended amount of time. So even when I'm doing this entrepreneurial star code, we're going for about 2 hours. It takes an extended amount of time.
Okay.
Right? And then there's some follow-up after that. But I know what it takes to get the information out and to help people with the transformation. And then that's what I charge for. Because
you're charging for the transformation, not for the hour.
Right. It's about the transformation. And who knows how long the transformation takes? You do. You're the expert.
Yes.
And so don't try to squeeze someone into an hour or half hour or whatever, when you know, like you darn well know, it's going to take a lot longer than that for them to get a result. So charge for that transformation and make sure you've put it together in such a way where they're going to receive that transformation.
Yes, I love what you're saying. When I do
Use your wisdom, your
hour-
experience.
Sorry, say that again. I didn't
I
hear
said,
you.
so use your wisdom, your experience to pull all that together so you can really help someone change their life.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Even for a one-off reading, because I do. I mean, not everybody, but if I'm drawn, I invite the clients for more. But my point is that I shower, I meditate, I get dressed, specifically for that meeting. I'm not like in my pajamas, I'm looking professional. And so I love what you're saying. And then afterward, you're right. There's wrap up. Maybe I'm going to the recording. I'm going to send it to them later. There's it's not just an hour of my time at all.
And you're right. There's only so much of you can spread around.
Mhm.
And so then you could get into things like, okay, how do I leverage?
Yes.
So whether it's you're doing packages or now you decide to do group programs. And again, it kind of depends on your makeup. Or if it's now I'm going to lead a bigger group because I'm going to attract hundreds or thousands of people in at a time rather than a smaller group. I'm doing larger groups. And, then you get into price points and all that. Again, always happy to get into that stuff with people with programs and packaging and pricing. And again, a lot of it's what are you a vibrational match for?
Right.
Because if you do something that you're not aligned with, right, then we know when we're not aligned, we're out of integrity and everyone around us can feel it.
Oh, I love what you're saying. Okay, this is perfect. This came up the other day. That hang on a second. Let me see where I want to go with this. Okay, so we were talking about to a friend about like discounts or whatever, or the price, and saying nobody's buying or whatever. And I'm like you're saying, it's a vibrational match, because you could charge $1,000, even if it's for an hour, whatever you're charging, right? And if you're a vibrational match to that, you're going to attract your clients no matter what you charge. If you're not, you could ask for $10, and you're not going to get that $10 because you're not a match for it. So I love what you're saying, that people.
And I want to say this to that $10, $1,000, because that's the perfect thing to say. The person who's asking for $1,000 because they're like, that's what I need right now. Oh my God, I need $1,000.
That's a good point.
They're not going to get their $1,000.
Right, because they're needing and they're in resistance.
And they're like, ah. And the person is like, I don't know. Maybe if I lower my price and I charge $10, someone will show up. They're not going to get the $10 either.
Right, you're right. Mm-hmm.
There's that part of being they're out of integrity with both of those things. Do their neediness. And the person who might have been scared and they're charging 10 when maybe they could really be in alignment with 1,000. If they let go of the fear, they could get 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000 over and over again.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Exactly. Margaret Lee saying, how to accept the fact of being worthy and comfortable of taking money. I have an issue with that. Thank you.
I want to say also, Jennifer, I just read your message.
Okay.
Yeah, giving yourself permission. And Margaret, that's going to be your same thing. It's part of giving yourself permission to spend the money and well as to receive the money. We all have our funkiness around money. Right. And I was listening. I forgot who I was listening to earlier. Gosh, I wish I could, because I don't want to. But basically, I teach this in, Winning with Money too. You got to be excited when the money comes in. And sometimes it's hard to get excited. It sounds funny, but sometimes it's hard to be excited when you receive money because you're just not used to receiving. Period.
So it doesn't have to be money. It could be anything. Some people are just not accustomed to receiving. They're used to giving.
And other people are so used to receiving that giving is painful, right?
Right.
And so you have to remember, this is just flow. Right? This is just a normal course of commerce. This is just how things flow in and out so people can all get the things that they need, right? It's just flow. And so you need to be excited when it comes in and grateful and full of gratitude when it comes in, and thank your money, bless your money, whatever it is for you. And then when you give that money, you need to be grateful to get the money. And sometimes people are like, no, don't take my money, And guess what? You're going to hold a mirror up in your business and people are like, no, don't take my money. when it comes to you receiving somebody. And that's
Great.
what you want to have gratitude in the giving and the receiving. And then the mirror is going to come back to you for the gratitude of giving and receiving.
Kim Siegel says receiving is difficult. I get it. I get it. I always gave working on this. So what do you recommend to people that are dealing with this now?
Oh gosh. And Margaret, let me know if I answered your question well enough. Gosh, when it comes to receiving, I have to say probably more like the recent thing that happened to me. So I'm going to give you something recent rather than Kim, you'll have to tell me if this is going to work for you. If not, we'll help you find another thing. Allow other people to do things for you. Like, I don't know, cook dinner. Once a week, if you live with folks, like I live with 3 other people, but I cooked dinner every night.
Okay.
Now I cook dinner about 3 nights a week, and other people take care of the other nights.
Nice.
Right. And so that's like it doesn't have to be, it doesn't, how you do things in one area of your life is how you do things in another. So if you get used to receiving things that way, you can then start receiving in other ways. Okay. Yeah. And if it's the other thing I would say, get used to receiving, and this is going to be, I should say this was really hard for me. Receive a compliment without deflecting it.
Oh, that's a big one too. That's a big one.
Receive a compliment without deflecting it.
Yeah.
Just someone says, you look nice today, say thank you.
Right.
So I go, oh, not really. Oh, I just woke up like this. Forget all that crap. Just say thank you.
That's so true.
Again, it's working that muscle for receiving. And I know it's not necessarily about money, but again, how we do money is how we do everything. How we do everything is how we do money.
Absolutely. I keep saying, oh my God, yes.
Okay. So I was like, I wanted to make sure we got something in there that you could work with, because that'll start helping you to be able to say thank you in receiving.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right.
Of course. Yes. It comes under self-worth and self-value. And so that's why personal sovereignty is such a big thing to me. And that's like, I have this huge course within I'm a coach. I'm not going to say things over and over again. I would drive myself batty. So I've created courses and curriculum within to give my private clients that they can work on, so we can work on things that are very specific to them, rather than some general things I could give to them. So one of those things is on personal sovereignty, because they all have those issues of self-worth, self-value, negative self-talk.
That's a big one.
Oh, it's I'm still working that out of myself, that negative self-talk. Mm-hmm. It just pops right on out. And I'm like, wait. Cancel, clear, delete. That's what my friend Linda says. Cancel, clear, delete.
I'm like, that's not for my greatest and highest good. I release that.
Yeah, it's gone.
Let it go.
So, I mean, all of those things we have to work through.
Yeah.
Money is usually the easiest way to see it, but everyone has something. And when we find balance in all those things, we have personal sovereignty. Boundaries is a big one we talked about earlier. And things just start getting better. Tenfold. The quicker we make the shift, the quicker things get better. The better it gets, the better it gets. That's one of the things I like to say a lot. The better it gets, the better it gets. Hello,
Mystical Gypsy. I was trying to put our names up, but it goes into the wrong place. So I guess maybe.
Margaret, you're right. Mental state is huge. We're all. Most of my spiritual folk, they are emotional folk, and that's kind of how we connect. In my experience, that's how I connect with spirit, is through my emotions. And so it's channeling those things. It's really being the King of Cups, put it all together, spiritually, emotionally, and can be benevolent and loving, right? And that's like this place to get to for me and for mental state. but it's working on that, working on how we perceive ourselves, because going back to the boundary discussion, I'm sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place too.
No, we're good. This is how we flow, girl. This is it.
How we perceive ourselves is how we teach other people to treat us.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you find that you're getting, lack of a better word, pissed off all the time and things are, getting your last nerve, you've taught people to treat you that way. And that is showing you a place where your boundaries are being violated, and you get to go and spin that around. Right? Yeah. So that's the easiest place to see where your boundaries are violated. You're getting low-key angry. Like, we're kind of pretty much jolly, happy folk, right? Right. But we're like, that gets my nerve. That's where your boundaries being violated. Yeah. Go check that out and deal with it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's the most amazing thing that the whole balance. It's just such a big topic. We're not even going to go too deep because we're almost out of time, which is amazing. This time has flown by
so fast.
Oh, you know what? Before you go, let me just ask you about courses, because I'm working on one myself.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like a lot. If you have a few more minutes, I didn't even ask you. Is that all right? All right. So, like, what about courses? I know a lot of my friends are in the spiritual community. We're all kind of all feeling this call. Some of them already have amazing courses, but some of us are working on putting out our first one. Like, I have clarity. I know the name. I know the tagline. I know. But what do you tell people, like, how to put it all together? Do you have any advice for people that are creating their courses now?
Yeah, my advice centers. I get real technical, of course. I'm going to try not to go there. I'm going to stay a little bit above and not get into technicalities. What I would say in general is, don't put too much in there. We have a desire, pretty much. I should say Africa in the past, and a lot of people I know have a desire to over deliver, and we think that's good. And what we're doing is force feeding people. Right? It goes back to, like, earlier I said, they're serving children in Africa, eat everything on your plate.
Right.
And then we're wondering why we're like overly full and gluttonous and if you force feed someone, they're not getting the nutrition and the love and everything out of that food they could get. It's the same thing in your course. When you overstuff it and you expect them to consume it all, they literally cannot. And of course, it becomes distraction and it becomes overwhelm, and they can't possibly get it through it all, so they give up. And then you don't have the completion rates you want, and therefore people aren't getting the transformation they signed up for.
Oh, that's so good.
Right? So trim down your courses rather than overstuff your courses. Don't try to force feed them.
That is brilliant advice. Thank you for that.
So that's me trying to stay out of the technicalities. I have all sorts of things I want to say about courses, but big picture view, that would be the one main thing. And that's me over time. What I realized to be true was I would force feed people at my courses, and they would just, oh my God, remember there, and this again, there's a reason you've had the experiences you've had in the past. So me coming at it as someone who taught adults, right? I taught at universities. I taught adults. I know how much I have the capacity to handle. I could tell when I was lecturing when people would tend to drop off, right? you can see it. And so even now people have shorter attention spans in general.
Yes, true.
Right? And so make things shorter, make them cut out the fluff and get to the point so they can get out of it what they need. Some people can only take 10 to 15 minutes at a time. Other people have the capacity to binge watch like crazy. Thank you, Netflix. And so you want to appeal to both of them. So if you make things bite-sized and you get to the point and you view all the action items in there, you make sure there's like a workbook or something, or you encourage them to journal, you encourage them to use all of their senses. That way you reach everyone.
Right.
Some people, they can give a flip about listening to us talk. They won't learn a thing.
Right.
So I provide a transcript.
That's
because they need to read it.
Yeah.
Right. We're appealing to all the ways that people learn. I find that that's when courses are more successful and they have more completion, is I give all these options for how people actually take in information.
Yes. No,
the big thing is don't overstuff it.
Don't overstuff it. No, I know there's different types of learners. Well, I know, I understand that, and you're absolutely right. So don't overstuff the course. That's powerful.
People have a tendency to do it, so just don't overstuff it. If it's your first course, don't overstuff it. Just make it lean, mean, just exactly what they need to get the first transformation. Oh, that's the other piece. Oh my God. See, now you got me on a roll.
Go right. I'm listening. I'm all ears.
We like to give a complete, utter, life-changing, earth-shattering transformation in our course. And we want to do it in 6 weeks.
Okay.
Right? How about giving them a smaller transformation in those 6 weeks in a way where they can actually action it and see the change? We don't have, I'd like to say every transformation is life-changing. It is, but sometimes it takes several life-changing transformations for the life to change.
That's true too.
Right? So we only need to give them part of it, right? Enough so they can see a difference, so they feel like I've won and I can do this. They've got to have that feeling like they could do it. They can be successful. They got to see that quick win. And then they go into the next thing with you and the next thing. So part of it is about business sustainability. Part of it is just really human psychology.
Right. No, I understand just what you're saying.
I hope that makes sense. So when I say don't overstuff it, don't say, well, I've given them a year, so I can put all this stuff in here and no. You probably need to take out half of what you got in there or more. Wow. And bring it down so they can have a quick win, and then they're ready to go into a year or more with you usually.
I love this. Kim says, I'm feeling like a sponge tonight, absorbing. I knew this.
I hope you gave this a thumbs up already.
I knew this content was going to really resonate, because I'm telling you, in the spiritual community, you'd be amazed at how people don't even want to talk about money. They're afraid to ask for it. They're afraid to let anybody know they're making any. They're embarrassed if they made money, or maybe they did well and they made like I raised my prices recently and I got paid. Thank you very much. New clients. And I'm like, wait a minute, I mean, I'm talking about it. There was a time when I would have been like, but I feel it's very important. It's very important. If you want to do what you love and love what you do, what is it? Confucius said, do what you love. You'll never work another day in your life.
Yes.
Right?
It's a lot of fun. And I would say, just going on another money part of this, I know I've been back and forth on the fence of, do you share your prices? Do you just publish them, out there for people to see, or do you hide them and they have to talk to you? I'm more for the publish them, let people see, so they can start working their brain around it. Mm-hmm. So I'm just putting that out there. That's the side I land.
I never thought about not putting it out there personally, because I want people to know this is me. I put myself out there. I'm totally transparent, as you know what I mean? I'm always out there. And so my prices are out there too. It's but for me, I don't have anything at the moment. I know I'm going to have the course and book and things like that, but for personal one-on-one work, I don't have anything where somebody could just book like 8 sessions with me until we've had at least one together where we see where it fit, where we see, and then Spirit's like, yeah, invite this person for more to go do coaching or whatever.
That's even my first thing that I give to people, and it's like, this is the entryway to everything that I do. So it's what you're talking about is your initial reading is your entry point. So my entry point is the Entrepreneurial Star Code. That's my entry point. Before you get into anything else, because I got other things that you can go into. Before you get into those things, you got to go through this thing.
And for me, the mini one, because I know a lot of coaches, they do discovery calls. I don't, well, I understand the concept there. I think that's wonderful, but I don't do that. But I do. It's funny because I had a meeting with a coach recently. One of Sunny Lenarduzzi's coaches, I had her call me and we talked. And I said, well, I've never done the discovery call. And then after I was off the phone, off the computer with her, I thought I talked to these new clients or potential new clients for like 10 minutes, sometimes more or whatever, on Facebook. We chat. And then while I set it up, because I literally, aside from now my website's taking booking clients too, which is awesome. I'm so glad I set that up. But anyways, you can book through my website too. But you can also inbox me directly and we can talk and I'll take your money and I'll book your date. I still have enough. I leave enough time and space in my calendar so that I can have those conversations, because and if I've never had it where somebody didn't resonate and I did, you know what I mean? But if that did happen, I wouldn't offer them a reading. I mean, I would,
Exactly. That's your discovery call.
Yes, it is.
Right? So instead of getting on the phone with someone and talking and trying to make your times meet that way, your discovery call is you chatting with them. And that's what I love to do too. I literally ask all the questions I need to know through chat, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, texting, whatever it is. We get it all out then. And then I'm like, okay, it sounds like we're a match. It sounds like this is going to be something that serves you.
Right.
Let's go ahead and do the Entrepreneurial Startup. That's when I offer it. But not
yes. Yeah, no, I love
exactly the same kind of process. And I think that's the perfect process to go to before people commit with money, right? They're committing to themselves through you. So it is a big commitment because they are saying, you're the one that I can feel like I can get this transformation through or this information through.
Yes.
And then they go and they do the thing with you, which to me personally is the discovery call. Because a discovery call is to figure out whether or not y'all can work together. And I like there to be a transmission of value for that. So that's why I do what I do, right? And you do what you do, because we're still providing service. We're still transferring information and transformation, and we're being compensated for it. And we could feel like, does that feel good?
Right. Exactly. Right? That's so important.
If it doesn't, then you're like, nah.
That's so important. I'm glad you mentioned that, and I didn't mean to just cut you off, but that's so excited. Because if you're charging a price and then you invest and then and you're not feeling compensated, you're not feeling it's fair, and it's not them, it's you. You created the situation, and now you're going to sit there and lament over it and be resentful that somebody didn't just pay you more. No, charge what you're worth, not what you're worth, right? But what resonates with you. Charge a price that resonates with you, that you're happy when somebody books, not thinking, oh, well, I really wish I would have gotten more for that hour. Because whatever you charge, if you align with, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You're going to match up with it. Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Yes. All right. What other questions do you guys have? I know are we overtime, under time? Where are we?
Well, if we go for 2 hours and we have a few more minutes.
Okay.
And I'm okay. If you guys have any questions for Africa, this is a perfect time for them. Perfect time. And then we're going to end in just a few minutes, but I don't want to miss anybody if they have a question.
Yeah, definitely want to get questions answered.
People where they can read. I know you got your website. I put that in the comments, but let everybody know where they can reach you. And
you know what, guys? I said I would work on a way, if y'all were wanting to do Winning with Money, to start working on the money mindset. I said that earlier. Text me. Okay, 512-648-3818.
Hang on, I'm typing it in. 512-648-3818. 3818.
Go ahead and text me, and when you text me, just put an HVM. Right? Just put an HVM. That way, I know it'll tag the whole thing, and I'll know where you came from. So I'll know. Okay.
She'll know that you saw us. You saw her right here.
Yes. And that
vibrational mastery.
Yeah. And I can tell you, hey, okay, this is what we're going to do with Winning with Money. All right. That way I know.
Otherwise, this is your course called Winning with Money. And this course is how to shift your money mindset. Is that correct?
Yes, all around money mindset. I'm about to do it live again later this year. So if you get it now, you just, anytime I update it, you get updates. So you would go through me live with it this year. I hadn't put it on the calendar when I'm going to reteach it live because I have some new concepts.
Okay.
That have come through me that I need to get out. So I'm like, I'm just going to repeat the whole thing. That happens every once in a while, guys. When you get something and it's like, okay, I need to revamp this course or I need to add to the course.
I was just about to ask you that. That's perfect. Because some people are like, oh, well, I shouldn't teach yet because I'm not here. But do you feel like you can teach wherever you are? And then if you need to upgrade the course later, then you do that because you've expanded and so the course expands, right?
Exactly like that. Yeah, and I think what I've done the last couple of times is just add modules to it.
Okay.
Right, top those live and add those to it. But now I'm like, nope, I want to do a total revamp. There's some things I want to say different, but the material in there right now is going to change you. It's going to transform you. It's going to make you start seeing things differently.
That's the perfect start. You know, I mean, if you can shift your money mindset, then you can make this your business. And then you make your passion a business.
Yeah, and that's what happens. Like I said, if you any place you make a shift, you start shifting in all other areas of your life. There's like 13 areas of your life that you can shift in, and you can decide to shift any of them, and they shift all the others. I just find, you know, for the most part, money's the easiest one to see and execute on.
Do you think? So wait, say that again. Do you feel like money is an easier one to shift or one of the harder ones for people?
I think it's easier for them to execute on. I'm not saying it's easier or hard to actually shift, but it's like it's more tangible here in our little 3D reality to mess with and quantify and see the changes.
That's true. It's very obvious and physically obvious when you release your money mindset and money's coming in and you're like, hey. And you know, when the money comes in, because I can tell you now, I'm seeing money come in. When it comes in, no one is upset about it. They're all happy. They're all happy. They paid you or whatever, or they donated. They're happy, and you're happy. I mean, if you could be happy too, you know. I mean, you are happy, or you wouldn't be attracting it. But it's like when you're on the other side of the mindset, you feel like that everybody's going to be resentful because you even asked for money.
I'm going to say this because this is going to be for someone, not for everyone here, but for someone here. I had a conversation with my husband, and I remember saying to him, it seemed ludicrous now that it seemed a little ludicrous when I said it, but it was an actual bona fide fear. And now I'm just like, really? That was a fear? I was afraid to make more money than him. Okay. That he wouldn't love me anymore, or he would leave me, or it would cause fights or whatever.
That's very valid. You were afraid to make more money than your husband because you were afraid he would be upset about that. So tell us more. So what did you do about this?
So finally I asked him, right? I finally plucked up the courage to ask him, and he's like, are you insane? What's wrong with you? You know, we make as much money as you can make. But that, I mean, these are some of those underlying presuppositions we have, that these kind of money things we have hanging out. Sometimes it's like, I can't do better than my parents or my uncle or whatever. This is a person who makes the most of my family, so I can't make more than them. Like, there's all sorts of stuff that pop up.
Sure, I understand.
And so that was the one that came up for me. It's like, I don't know where this is coming from. And it took me probably 1.5 years before I plucked up the courage to say anything.
Wow. Oh, that's profound. I get it. I get it. I know that's reaching a lot of people right now.
And so I wanted to say that. Oh, can you address this? Service first and the rest will come. I think I can address it, Kim. And you can tell me if I'm off base with where I'm going with it. So how's that? If it's not what you intended. I think about when you said that, if we build it, they will come. And you have to actually let people know. Right? So that means you have to be visible. So if you're thinking about service first, they will come, Yes, when you do a service and you help some people, sometimes that travels by word of mouth. If you want to pour some gasoline on that, you've got to get visible. And oh my gosh, 2 things to say about that. Most of my business has been referral based. There's some things that I do that were visible, but a lot of like my really like ride or die customers came from referrals.
Okay.
Right? Not everyone who has a transformation with you is going to refer anybody else, even if you ask them.
Okay.
That's why you have to also be visible, because you will change people's lives, and sometimes they will share it and sometimes they won't. It's kind of like I was talking to a client the other day, and she said, I have this amazing handyman. And she goes, and my friend wants the information from my handyman, but I'm not going to give it to her. Right? You're doing your friend a disservice and the handyman a disservice. Where is this coming from? It came from a lack mentality, by the way. If I share this information about this person, then maybe when I need this person, they won't be there for me.
Wow. Yeah, that is definitely, that's a lack mentality.
Lack mentality, right? Yeah. And so you can't account for other people's lack mentality, right? That's why you can't just rely on word of mouth, unfortunately. So you got to get out there and be visible. And the other thing I was going to say about this is, oh my God, I see her little face. She's an Australian coach. Kat, that's her name. Katrina Ruth, that's her name. I'm like, it was going to come. She's my daughter and I laugh about this all the time. She was talking about visibility.
Okay.
And she's like, think of yourself as a tour guide. Tour guides usually, there's a big field and you need to get to the right tour guide. They're holding up a flag and you have to go to the flag that is red or blue or whatever so you can find your tour guide. And they're not down laying on the field with a flag the size of a cocktail napkin going, look at me. You would never see them, right? They're standing up. They find a rock or something to stand on, and they're waving the flag really high in the air so you can see them. That's exactly what you have to do with your visibility. A lot of folks I work with are laying down in the field. Maybe they've even dug themselves like a little hole to lay in. and they've got, they're not even holding up. They're holding up this part of the Post-it note, like, hey, look at me. Right. So we're going to see you. Be visible. And this is a really big year. I think I talked about it in my 2021 reading. You have to be visible.
Yes.
There's a lot of support around it this year, astrologically. Be visible.
I love that. Kim,
good.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, this has been amazing. I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much, Africa. Wow. And so if you would like to visit Africa's website, I have it right here. I know I put it in the comments again, just so you know. And yeah.
And then definitely text me, guys. You have that in the comments as well. Text me and let me know where you are. Definitely the first time you text me, just text HBM, hit enter, and let it go to me. And then you can text me whatever else you want. But that'll at least let me know pretty much what some of the information we need to provide.
Perfect.
And it will come straight to the phone.
I love it. So thank you, everybody, for watching. You have also been amazing. Thank you for co-creating this with us. If you missed the beginning of the video, please watch the beginning because I've got some amazing information. And Africa, you're the best. Thank you so much. And perhaps we can do something again sometime. I would love that.
I would love to come back. I'm honored to be here with you. It has been a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a great evening, everybody.
Bye, everyone.